Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us. This is Sip and Tea with Nat and Z. I'm Nat.
And I am Z.
What's
Hello,
up?
hello, hello.
Welcome back, y'all.
Yes, yes. Welcome back and say happy 1 year anniversary to
Boop,
us.
boop. Bam, 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 bam.
Our podcast is a year old. Um,
Yes.
and I can't believe it. We're not going
Yeah.
to get too heavily into us being one today. We
Right.
actually have a special episode scheduled in September for us to talk about our one
Mm-hmm.
year doing this podcast, our lessons learned, the
Mm-hmm.
highs and the lows, and just all good things. So we hope that you will join us for that episode. I'm thinking, I got an idea. Maybe we can make that a live episode so people could
Ooh, yeah. Folks have been
call
asking.
in
Give
and
the people what they want.
get the people what they
Give
want.
the people what they want. They've been asking. They've been asking. So maybe we'll see. We'll see.
Yes,
We'll see.
yes,
Let us
yes,
know. Let us know when you hear this if what you think we should do. Just
yes,
like, give us some feedback
yes. Because I
and
love
stuff.
y'all feedback. Y'all be on it.
Yes.
Y'all
So
be on it.
thank y'all for the continuous support and props and all that. We really appreciate it.
Yes, we do. We
Yes.
do.
Yes. Yes.
So let's get right into it. The
All
tea
right.
of
All
the
right.
day. We are not tea experts. Talk to your doctor when drinking herbal tea, as there could be potential side effects when mixed with some medications. This is not a substitute for medication. We're not affiliated with any of these companies, nor are these endorsements. So, what is the tea on the table today?
All right. So we're talking about I wish someone would have told me. Right. Some of that may have caused us some anxiety in our life being as we enter adulting. And this tea is supposed to kind of help you get through that. It's called Comfort Herbal Tea. It's a house blend that'll relax and comfort you at any moment. Perfect blend to soothe your body and calm your nerves. All the ingredients are here to restore balance within your body and create a general feeling of well being and relaxation. Because you're ramped up because of adulting, because people didn't tell you some shit that you wish they would have. Okay? But I will say it's an excellent last cup of tea for, for the day to
Yes.
relax and bring on a restful night of sleep, right? There's luxury ingredients,
Luxury ingredients.
luxury, lux. So, linden flowers, spearmint, chamomile, rose petals, and lavender. It sounds fancy.
The fact
Hmm.
that you have to say luxury ingredients
Ingredients,
just
I
tells
know.
you right there that this is some bougie bitch shit.
Yes, and I think you should pick you up some for a 10-minute tea time and give that self to you in your luxury 10-minute tea time. Okay. So what's
So,
a hot tea?
a few things. The Olympics
Mm-hmm.
ended today, actually, which was Sunday. Well, okay. So the Olympics ended Sunday. Sunday
Mm-hmm.
was yesterday in
Oh,
Tokyo, or
is that tomorrow? Are we did it pass already? I don't know.
but
This
whenever.
morning. It's
This
this
morning.
morning.
Okay, so it's over.
Woo! I
You
see.
just need to know it's over.
It's over. Closing ceremony's about to wrap this bitch up. Okay.
It's on. The closing ceremonies already done happened
Right.
there, but we just I don't know if it's been aired here yet, but y'all see it when you see it. But
Right.
we've closed out the Olympics with 103 medals overall. We are the top of the top. We have the most
Mm-hmm.
medals of any country. Although China did beat us, they bested us in gold by one. So we have 39 gold medals and they have 40 gold medals.
Mm.
We have 41 silver and 33 bronze. The story of the Olympics is Simone Biles did come back for the last event on the beam and
Mm-hmm.
still came out with a medal for you hoes. Um,
Look at that,
and
bitches.
people were giving her a hard time, but I'm
Mm.
gonna say this, and this is not shade, but the gold medals that the Olympic team has won in the individual rounds of category would not have been won by them had Simone decided to be in those events.
Mm.
So y'all can say whatever you want about her, but she actually helped her teammates get gold. So
Right.
they
And
actually should be congratulating her
she said
and
that. She
patting her
said
on the
she was
back.
doing it for her team. She put the team before herself in the sense of
Exactly.
what I need to do to take care of me. And if I'm selfish and just need to prove a point, I could have taken the team.
Right.
and people still give her shit for it. But people that can't even do a somersault giving her
Hello.
grief.
Exactly.
So whatever. Have
So
several seats.
exactly. Allison Felix is now the most decorated track and field athlete. So big ups to her. And I will say this: if you have not seen any of the Olympic events at all, and you just want to get some highlights, please go to Leslie Jones's page. You know Leslie Jones. I think that's her last name because it's
Yeah.
another one. There, Leslie Jones and Leslie Jordan. I sometimes get the names confused. Her page, oh my God, her highlights are amazing. I got lost in her highlights actually this morning. It was almost late, which I had no excuse to be for this because I was cracking up at her commentary on
What?
some of the highlights from the Olympics. So check that out if you
Definitely
are
gonna have to check
interested.
that out.
Yes.
Sure.
The baby, the
Mm.
bookings, and the apologies. So we all
Oh
know
goodness.
the baby put his foot in his mouth and said some disparaging things
Whew, my goodness.
that people connected to, basically saying that what you're telling us is that HIV and AIDS
Mm.
is only affecting the LGBTQ community.
Ooh,
And
mm.
it's only because of risky behaviors, which we all know
It's
is
false.
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 So
I wish he would have had several seats because that's the
several.
field that we work in, and this is exactly what promotes stigma in in the community that we work in, and it is so detrimental. So I just he would have just shut the hell up and have several seats because
Exactly.
that is so inappropriate.
Inappropriate. And if Chris Brown is the voice of reason in a situation like this, then you done fucked up. If
I don't
Chris
even
Brown,
understand why he would have like it was so random that you would even have to have Chris come back in and say something. Like it's just this,
right? Chris
what
Brown was
possessed
like,
you to say that?
I don't know. Chris Brown was like, just get on stage, do your show, shut the hell up,
Ex-
and go home. Like that's it. Ain't
You have
nobody
yeah,
asked for your political commentary.
which he has
Shut up.
none because you're
Right.
that's just dumb. You just
Just
your ignorance is showing.
it is. And there are some people who are saying, well, trying to compare and contrast and saying, well, why are these festivals? Because he lost a lot of gigs. And let me
Rightfully
tell
so.
you, people keep saying he ain't worried about it. Yes, he is. Because we've been in a pandemic
Uh-huh.
for almost 2 years now. And we're just now letting people go back to festival life,
Mhm.
which we're probably going to stop because
Right.
Delta and her lion sisters are out here causing havoc.
Right. All up in Chicago at whatever that festival.
Lollapalooza,
Lollapalooza.
yes, he's lost a lot of bookings.
Mm-hmm.
And people are basing it on his comments, and people are saying, "Oh, well, then why are you allowing these
Oh.
quote unquote gangster
Mm.
rappers to perform and have these lyrics in their songs, but you're not chastising? You're not canceling those people." And here's what I'm gonna say about this: Van Jones said something about this. No, I'm sorry, Van Lathan, not Van Jones.
Mm.
Van Lathan. Let me tell you, there is a
There's a
difference.
stark difference.
And all skin folk ain't kinfolk. There is a complete difference.
Right.
Van Lathan said, which is true, the LGBT community has a lot of money behind them. A
What?
lot of
That is
money.
an understatement of the century.
And these
Yes.
corporations understand that, right? These festivals are run by corporations.
Mhm.
So if you know that they will start pulling their support from you, your best move is to condone these behaviors because they are like the LGBT is basically like a lobbying group. And they are. They're
Mhm.
a lobbying group, right? They
Yes,
can go
they
to the Hill
are.
and they can get shit done.
Yep.
And they stick together and they have a lot of
Mhm.
money behind them and a lot of power behind them.
Very
The
much so.
reason why you're not going to see people condemn with quote unquote gangster rap or misogynistic lyrics or sexist lyrics or is because the hood loves it. And the hood
Mhm.
loves it because a lot of people have experienced a lot of the things that these songs talk
Are
about.
saying right.
And some people actually live the life. I don't think this new generation is actually living the life they talked about, but we know
Right. It
growing up in the
happened.
90s, right, listening to songs in the 90s, Nas really lived that shit. Jay-Z
Mhm.
really lived that
Yep.
shit, right? There are people that we know
That
really
lit.
live that life. And so they're painting a picture for you as to what it was, right? And you can call it glorifying or whatever. But until the money behind rap says we don't want you to continue to promote this type of message, it's never going to stop. And if you remember, I think it was like in the 80s, there were Congress people. I forgot that one Congresswoman's name.
Yes.
It was
That
a couple, but there was one who was in the forefront, was
mm,
like, this is terrible. We can't have this type of music
music.
polluting our communities. Um,
Eh, mm.
like I
Your
remember they were going
privilege
after,
is showing. Have a seat.
right.
Have a seat.
They were going after, I think it was Sheila Jackson Lee, it might have been.
Hmm.
They were coming after Tupac. They were coming after NWA. And the community gathered around these people and said, no, we need to hear this because this is life in the
Right.
Black community.
Hmm.
And where there's some truth to that, I do see that there could be some some responsibility in
Right.
promoting a little bit better music. I mean, even R&B today, like,
I don't know what they be talking about. It's trash. Some of
well,
it.
I'm gonna say this. I like some of the stuff that is out
Hmm.
there, but Jasmine Sullivan, and I love Jasmine Sullivan,
Hmm.
talking about sitting on things and spitting on things is a far cry from Anita Baker talk about "You're my angel." I'm just, it's a far cry from that, okay? And I love Jasmine.
And
Don't get me twisted. Don't
she's
get it
on
twisted.
another side of the continuum. She
Right.
said that you know what it was. That's so funny, Anita. That was like the precursor.
Yes.
Well, you're my angel, and I guess Jazz was like, we didn't get to that part. This is the Netflix and chill
Right.
generation. That's Netflix and chill generation is what we hearing now. There's no courting. There's no
No.
speaking my devotion to you
No.
because, well, we know yeah, instant
And I'll say this,
gratification is
right.
overcoming that.
And let me say this. Let me be clear. That song, I love it. Her and Ari, I love it.
Yes,
And no shade. And
yes,
empowerment
love
to
that
y'all.
song.
I love it.
Yes,
But I'm
yes.
just saying, we are definitely a far cry. And I mean, us going up, BBD, smack it up, flip it, rub it
What? We
down
were
was
like,
controversial.
oh no, it was a
Right.
lot.
That was a lot. It was like, whoa,
Did
what
you
the
say?
hell?
And then do me. We were like, oh my god, this can do
Right.
me in the morning and do me in the night.
And now it don't,
Yeah,
I mean,
it just
that's
you
like
wake up and
kindergarten lyrics
yeah. It's like, oh,
compared.
that is crazy though, right?
Yeah. So
How much more sexualized the music is
yeah, it
compared to
is.
now.
So, I mean, I don't care. I also feel like this is karma because
Mm,
he did that whole Megan Thee Stallion thing. I did some research, and apparently, when Megan and the baby were making songs together and they were in the studio together and they were talking about the music they were doing, he basically co-signed with her and said, "Yeah, Tory Lanez is trash. Like that dude just why would he?
mm,
That's some bitch ass shit to be shooting some woman, and then you turn around and you go make a song with him. Like to me, that does show a sense of disloyalty and shadiness. And so I feel like this is just karma coming back around. And for a lot of other stuff that he's done, right? So I have no sympathy for the baby. Uh no empathy, no sympathy, nothing.
mm,
So if he keeps losing money,
that's
so
on
be it,
him.
because you ain't what else that's where people make their money at now. Shows. People aren't
Right.
making their money off of streaming. People ain't buying albums. Like
No.
you are making your money off of shows. So if
Right.
you didn't, and I'm gonna tell you, don't listen to these kids now talk about something they got this and that. The rich rappers that we
Mm,
know are no longer. You're not gonna have another Diddy,
no.
Jay Z, Nas.
Those are empires those people have built.
It's difficult for. I mean, they're gonna get endorsements. They'll get
Hmm.
other things, but they're not gonna see. It's gonna be a while before you see another billionaire, star like you're
Right.
seeing now, unless they have a lot of their hands in a lot of different things. And I also think that he got the curse of 50. 50 basically was like, you are the heir apparent. And as soon as 50 did that,
Mm.
everything started going down the drain. So you also have to watch who you align yourself with.
Yeah.
I remember the baby after the whole Megan Thee Stallion came out, the issue between him and Meg came out. He was like, "What I got to do to get Jay-Z on a verse? Jay-Z will never do music with
Ever.
you
Ever.
ever
Ever.
again,
Ever. Ever.
ever. He will never
Ever.
do
Ever.
ever do music with you. It's just never going to happen. Just
No.
like he would never do anything with Chris Brown. He's never going. If he ever did anything with the baby, I'd be surprised. But
Yeah.
enough about him.
Yes.
Let's move on to Dipset and the Locks. Dipset, Dipset, Dipset.
The memes that I have seen,
Oh, girl.
the video clips, just wow.
Yes.
Pure comedy.
Comedy.
Pure
Comedy.
comedy.
I don't want to get too deep into it because it was something that you had to see.
Yeah.
But Jada, if he wasn't in your top 5 before, he best be in your top 5
Yes.
now. I'll also say that if you can find Fat Joe's podcast, please watch his recap of the Locks versus the Dipset. It is hilarious. He said if y'all promoters was trying to book Jada before, yesterday's prices ain't today's prices.
Boom.
And that is going to be my mantra. Yesterday's prices ain't today's
Ooh.
prices. Meaning what you thought you could do yesterday, you ain't gonna be able to do today,
Hello.
boo. Okay, we've
Hello.
elevated, we've graduated.
Thank
Okay,
you. Elevated,
yesterday's
graduated.
prices ain't today's
That's a
prices.
T-shirt. That's a T-shirt.
Okay, that was classic. And him saying COVID was in there. He's like, God bless. He said, because COVID, and then he did his little magic fingers, was in there. God
President
bless.
accounted for. COVID was chilling on the stage with a backpack like the rest of them Joes.
Yep, sure was.
Walking around, not really saying no verse, just walking around with gear on
Yep.
from one side to the other in case somebody fell off.
Yes.
To catch themselves.
Oh, good. Well, I had 2 other things to talk about. I don't care about them other 2 things. Definitely don't. I really don't. I was going to talk about Matt Damon and his stupidity, but
Yeah, we touched upon that.
you can find Matt Damon on your own and see
Yeah.
what foolishness he's got. Okay, between Matt Damon and his foolishness and people out here really admitting that they don't either wash their set themselves.
Wait, what?
Okay. Mila and Ashton Kutcher, Kristen Bell, who I absolutely adore, and Jake Gyllenhaal literally fixed their mouths to say that they do not bathe themselves often. And those of them that have children don't bathe their children until they can smell them. What kind of dirty shit is that? I'm sorry.
What?
They do not bathe themselves daily. And they don't bathe themselves until they can smell themselves.
I'm not.
And they think that's okay.
Why is that okay?
I don't know.
Why would you say that in public?
I don't know.
I mean, I don't understand. Yeah,
It's nasty. I'm sorry.
That
And
is-
then
I don't understand.
it's just nasty to me.
I mean, I get some days you're in the house and you chilling on the couch. You may not take a shower in the morning or the next day because you're like, you literally haven't changed. You've just been on the couch. But that's a day. Like, not a.
No, there go days.
No.
And then somebody, they said that, and I don't know if somebody asked The Rock this, but The Rock came out and said, let me be clear. I am not one of those I bathe every few days celebrities. He said, I take a cold shower in the morning when I get up. I take a warm shower after I work out. Another one before I go to work. So he let you know he bathes 3 times a day. So don't get The Rock twisted. You cannot
Yes.
smell what The Rock is cooking.
Well played, sir. Well played. Well played. Well played.
I was in the comments of his thing, and somebody said the Rock might like his women white, but he likes his hygiene black.
So mad at that. Oh my gosh. Yeah, but that's it. That's how the Europeans of old age used to handle themselves.
Well,
And Catherine of Aragon. They were like every couple days, and they wore a lot of stuff. Like, so they were sweating and hot and musty. That's what. No.
No, and okay, that's enough. I'm about to say as a female,
There's
but
some
that's a whole
things.
nother thing. All right,
Nasty.
no,
Just
I ate breakfast this
nasty.
morning. I ain't trying to think about that.
Mm.
Let's go ahead and get into take a quick break.
Right. All right, and we're back from our little break. So, our tea time, as mentioned before, is I wish some would have told me earlier to help figure out how to do this adulting shit. That's not really the whole title, but that's how I feel about it right now. Just after we go through this list, y'all understand. A lot of this has come on to us because of adulting. So when we're looking back at our life and a multitude of things, we often wish someone would have told us, or we thought we would have learned something a lot sooner. So we compiled a list that we know now, in our being grown state, that we would have liked to have been told earlier. So this one I think is really paramount, especially in these times with the pandemic and folks not having employment or having the big, what is it, the big resignation that everyone is folks are, yeah, are leaving their jobs and resigning, or like, you know what, I don't, this ain't the life for me. I'm gonna go pursue my dreams or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So health is wealth. And this is where that comes into play, because you have to really think about your mental, physical, and emotional state. And COVID has definitely given a different light to some folks to have some thoughts about, what am I doing with my life? What is my purpose? What do I want to be when I grow up? And all that stuff. But in order for you to sustain these things, one thing that's really important, please take care of your teeth and feet. Please. We starting with that because that's, how you influence your self-image. And facts, teeth are expensive.
They
I
are.
understand why people walk around without teeth. Them
Right.
jokers, whoa.
And here's the thing, right? When we're talking about this and we're talking about things people wish, like things you wish people told you earlier, right?
Hmm.
We've learned some of these lessons.
Yes.
But
We
there are some of
speaking.
y'all who are still young and have to understand that a lot of these things that we're talking about,
Hmm.
learn these.
Now.
We learn them now if you haven't, or if you have children, make sure they understand this
Hmm.
as early as possible to save them some heartburn, heartache,
Yes.
pocket
All of that.
depletion, because the two worst pains in the world, teeth pain
Woo, and foot.
and feet pain.
Man, having plantar fasciitis, having anything going on with your Achilles, if you got a toe pain. I mean, your feet take you to and from wherever you need to go.
Yes. Them heels, I wish I would have learned
Mm.
earlier that heel life is not
I
healthy
still,
life.
right, it is. Because you now, remember back in the day when you used to go to the club and you only brought them stilettos or your heels.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see the girls walking out and you can't because your feet hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays, I will take a stiletto, but trust and believe I have some flip flops or some little shoe folded up in my purse now. Them little cute purses, I don't do
Mm-hmm.
that anymore
No.
because I realized there was no way I could continue and sustain. And I love me a stiletto, but
Mm-hmm.
now I pack another pair of shoes, because it was ridiculous.
Yes.
You really are like, I can't, and a jacket. Just,
Mm-hmm.
I know that's off topic, but girls, if y'all going out and y'all have stilettos, put on a jacket. Y'all be shivering and then you can't walk, looking like baby deer. It's a hot mess. It's a hot mess. So, and that's important. Get and stay regular. Y'all understand what I mean with that? That Metamucil, them all those Activa. That is important. There's a reason why there is a push for that. Because if you are not taking care of your digestive health, you are full of shit, literally and figuratively, and that is not good for you at
Mm-mm.
all. It's just it can break down your whole health system, your whole functioning,
Exactly.
everything. So important.
You should have learned that. Like, these are things, honestly, that if you implement these things early enough in your
Mhm.
life, you're not going to have these issues
Later.
later in life.
Yes, yes. You want to be sitting talking about Activa all day. I mean,
Right.
but
Sitting there eating raisins
right.
bread.
Exactly, Metamucil. I mean, it's just be mindful, y'all. Just be mindful.
Oh, Jesus.
I know. Oh, this is a big one. And I'm not going to touch on all of the lists that we have, but wear sunscreen. Black people, yes, we do get sunburn. We do get sunburn.
But it's not even that. Wearing sunscreen helps with your pigmentation.
Yes.
A lot of as we get older, our skin is like like sunscreen is so important. And here's the thing that I
Mhm.
wish I would have learned earlier about sunscreen. Like, yes, wear it all the time, but there are certain times, like even if you're in front of a computer, because the UV rays affects
Mhm.
that, right? You're driving, you should on the arm, if it's sunny
Mm.
out, the arm that you have up against the window should be slathered in
Yeah.
sunscreen. I mean, your hands need sunscreen. You don't want your face to be looking like, you know,
Baby's bottom.
and then your hands looking like the Crypt Keeper, because that will
Girl.
happen.
Yes, I've seen it. I've seen it. And it's like, oh.
That will
Mm,
happen. Okay.
yes. Trust and believe.
Sunscreen is so, and don't be doing that SPF 15.
They don't
You
know
need to
this.
do 30 and
Above.
above.
Yes.
And if you can't get, like, I know my skincare, and we're going to talk about this, my
Yeah.
skincare routine is very important to me. I have 4 steps in the morning, 5 steps at night. And one of those steps is definitely sunscreen. If you feel like you don't have the time, or you won't remember to put the sunscreen on, buy some moisturizer that has the sunscreen already in it. Fenty Skin has a moisturizer that has SPF 30 built in already.
Oh.
So that's
check
just for
out
you that's
Fenty.
just trying to skip your steps and do the minimal.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if you just wash and moisturize. You need sunscreen.
Yes. So
You
important.
need it.
So important. So
And I'm
important.
telling you, if you ever get into the dermatologist light where they show you where the sun has done damage to your face,
It's crazy.
I used to laugh at women walking around wearing the umbrellas. I'm like, it's a sunny day. Why are you not trying to enjoy the sun? I understand now. I get it fully. In my 40s, I get it.
Yes, because you want to still look good in your 80s.
Yes, because black does crack. I've
Yes.
seen it.
And it's
People
not
who don't
cute.
take care of their skin.
It's very apparent. And then it's ashy and it's not a good look. We
No.
all know this. We all know
No.
this. So a couple of these tie in together. So if when we get older, and Zarifa has talked about this at certain points, getting pregnant is not that easy, and your chances of getting pregnant are reduced the older you get. Now, I understand this is a bit of a rub sometimes, because if we're in the careers that we want to be in, and then we just want to put that first, and there is a biological clock, so just be mindful of that. And whatever weight you may gain, yes, it is a little bit that associated with pregnancy or what have you. Yes, it may be a little bit harder to get off, but also be mindful, if you do get pregnant, enjoy that time. I know it's very hard for folks that may be in it to think of that, but there's folks that can't get pregnant that would love to have those growing pains that you are maybe complaining about. So just be mindful, and the older you get, those things can be a challenge to
Right.
those around you. So just be mindful of that, and just take care of yourself, and don't just be eating for two, because that weight when
That's
you
a false. That's false.
yeah,
I'm gonna tell you the thing about the pregnancy thing is, the thing that I wish somebody would have told me earlier about that is not even that the getting pregnant is not as easy. Get your fertility looked at
yes,
as early as possible.
please.
And the reason why I say that is because you'll know where you are, even if you're not at a place where you're ready to have kids.
Yeah,
Because
you can plan.
you don't want to have a situation where, or at least you have the option of understanding what your options will be
Right.
earlier on. Now, that's not to say that it's not going to change, because our bodies change
Right.
consistently. But I wish I would have understood my fertility a little bit better at the height of my 30s
Yeah.
than I learned
Later.
in at the end of my 30s. I just wish I would have paid more attention to a lot of things.
Right. So definitely heed that. And then, it's one of the most important things that we, of course, we promote, and is a thread of this podcast, is self-care. Understand, it is not optional. You need to take care of yourself, because all these things we just talked about are on you to take care of yourself. Ain't nobody else gonna come and slather some sunscreen on you unless you're on a beach with somebody. I don't know, but just in general, when you're there in the morning time, those are things that you can do for yourself and control, for the most part, and really put yourself first when you're thinking about that. It's not selfish. It's not selfish.
No.
At the end of the day, when you wake up and go back to sleep, and it is you and your thought processes to take care of, and that's mental health and all of those things, financial and all those things. So make sure you're mindful of those things.
Absolutely.
You know,
Things that I wish somebody would have told me earlier about overall adulting.
it's a trap.
Adulting.
It's a
Well,
trap.
yes, it is a trap. but save early for retirement. And
Mm-hmm.
that's hard. Like in your 20s, you're not thinking about, and I understand why, but when you're in your 20s and you got your first job and you get your first check, the last thing you're thinking about is
Saving
contributing to your 401k
your
or your
TSP.
TSP if you're in the government. That's the last thing you're thinking about. But I'm going to be honest with you, that should be the first
First.
thing. That,
First.
and remember we said take care of your teeth and feet.
Because you're
Get
going
that
to need
good,
that money.
yes, get that good health insurance. Their first job out, get that good health insurance, and put that money up for retirement. Okay.
Yes.
The importance of credit investments and learning about its importance. Definitely something that I wish I learned earlier. Definitely. One of the things, live below your means.
Please and thank
And
you.
I know that
Don't
is
be
hard,
flossing.
but it is something that I have definitely learned and something that I'm going to make sure that I push onto my child. You know, just because you're making, okay, case in point, you get a good job, you've been making, let's say, $65,000 a year. You get you get a better job, you get this promotion, and now you're making $85,000 a year. You know how to live off of 65?
Stay there.
Live off of 65.
Stay
Put the
there.
rest into savings. If you get to 85, right? And you know, you've incurred a little bit more, you've gotten a better car, better house, you get this next job and it's 120. If you're able to manage at 85, manage at 85. Just because you make more don't mean you need to spend more.
Hello.
But that is a mentality that we have. The more you make, the more you spend. And that's a lesson that I wish I would have learned a little earlier. Now I live at my means. I try to live below my means, but I live at my means.
Right there at your means. Talk about, hey, means, how you doing? Good
Me
morning.
and my means, me and means are best friends. Like we we see eye to eye.
Right. And I can tell you, I will say, these programs like Affirm and Zazzle, they can help you live below means to an extent so that you don't make big purchases and really think about how you distribute your funds.
Right.
I will say that.
But don't be getting a whole bunch of Affirm
right
purchases because now you above your means.
Because you're paying for 6 different things at $15 a pop.
Right. Take your time buying a house.
Oh, man.
Homeownership is overrated.
Me and Z talked about some stuff going on in our house the other day.
It's overrated. It is a trap. And I'm going to say this for all of you, if you are younger than we are, and you're still deciding if you want to purchase a home, and you haven't met the right someone yet, maybe just rent until you find the right someone if that's what you're looking for.
Right.
Because coming into a situation where you have your own property that you've owned, your partner has their own property that they own, and now y'all trying to own property together, oh my God, the headache that you have to go through with that is...
And if you had to decide if you're going to make that a rental property and all that comes with that and being the landlord and taking care of stuff and then leveraging that against your own house. I mean, it is a lot of work. My parents went through it and they had a couple properties and they were like, you know what? We're good.
Yeah.
They sold them right before they got them for retirement. But when it got closer for other things, they were like, you know what? I can't deal with these people. It's too much.
Right. And I'm saying, you know, I'm not saying that property ownership is not important. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying take your time.
Yes, because there is stuff that will come up. So then if you're in a condo, that the condo association takes care of. Or if you're in an apartment, you call maintenance.
Please don't get me started on condo associations because I'm in beefing with mine right now. And I need some patience with them.
Yes. You need,
I need patience. But I'm just saying, take your time. Like that song goes, take your time, young man. Mama used to say, rush to get old. Mama used to say. I'm just telling you, okay?
Take your time. Take your time, please.
Some answers come with time and some don't, and yet life goes on.
Yes.
Okay?
That is one of the most important things, I think, just to get you from second to second.
Yes. Some days.
Some days.
Live alone at least once in your life for a significant period of time. that was something that I don't think I needed to be told because I am I am a introvert extrovert, so my time is my time is my time. I remember in college we used to if I went MIA, people used to say I was on my sabbatical because I just needed time away to
Right.
decompress. I was practicing self-care when
Then
I
didn't
didn't
even
even
know it,
know.
right?
I didn't even know it.
Hmm.
Um
It's so important.
it is. You can't do it all.
No.
And it is okay. I think this is important to learn as early as possible because we have conditioned ourselves to believe that we can do it all.
Yeah.
You can have the banging ass career, the
Mhm.
marriage, the 2.5 kids, the house, the dog, the friends, the travel. And
Yes.
I'm not saying that you can't, but you will lose your shit very
Very,
quickly.
very
Very
quickly.
quickly. Very quickly.
Trying to impress, and it's not that you're trying to impress people, but what you're trying to live up expectation as to what society may think you
Exactly.
should be doing.
Cause and it's that see,
That's a
and here's
racket.
it is a racket. And here's why it's a myth. Because all we talk about is marriage,
Yep.
we talk about job, we talk about family. But you don't talk about all the other shit that you have to do. You have to eat right, wash your ass, brush
Hmm.
your teeth, make doctor's
Right.
appointments.
Exactly. And that's
Like,
just that's you just saying that most of those things all have something to do with other people. It's nothing about yourself.
right,
And you can't do that. You have to, because what good are you if you miserable and now you go get married and you're not ready to be in that situation. You're not ready
right.
to handle kids. You can't even raise yourself. Like there are some of y'all out here don't wash your ass. Don't know how to cook. Don't know how to like. You don't know anything. You haven't done anything to make yourself to get into that adult frame of mind, and you think you're just gonna shack up and the other person gonna figure it out. But what if that person is just like you? Y'all just gonna be
That's what I'm
some
saying. You
stinky
can't,
mofos on the
right.
couch eating ramen noodles. I'm gonna
And
need
that's why you say you can't do it all.
you can't
And
do it all.
but it's okay. Like,
Yes,
don't get wrapped up into I'm because that's how we
the
have burnout.
checklist.
That's how people have burn out.
Hmm. Been there,
That's
done
how
that.
people's mental health starts to deteriorate.
Yes.
You know, a lot of people say you have the same hours in the day as Beyonce, so you have no excuse. Yes, I do, bitch. My excuse is I ain't Beyonce.
Hello, Beyonce has a whole team. She has a whole damn team. Can we talk
Yes,
about that?
that is my excuse.
I'm
Bitch,
not
I ain't
playing.
Beyonce. Okay. So you can't do it all, and it is okay.
Yes, yes.
You don't always have to go where the money resides,
I love it. You may want to,
but you don't have
but
to.
you don't have to. You
There are
can
some
give them.
people who will take a pay cut and are in a much happier place.
Yes.
I've seen it. You can find
Hmm.
articles. There are people who were, you know,
Corporate lawyers
right,
making
making
gazillions, you
right
know.
250 plus
Hmm.
a year and were miserable
Yep.
and went and quit their job, got an RV, traveling around the world on $30,000 a year, and they
Yes.
couldn't be happier.
At all.
Right?
Hence, like Nomad Land,
Right.
whatever that movie is. But I don't know the
Money is you're right. Money is good, but money does not bring happiness.
No.
And there's Ariana Huffington. Oops, sorry. There's an Ariana Huffington clip that's going around. I don't know if it was a TED talk that she did, but she
Hmm.
talks about, this. You can't do it all, and finding your peace and your happiness. So if you
Hmm.
can find that clip out there, I suggest you do it.
Yes.
Um, treat yourself within reason. Now this
Hmm.
goes back to living below your means.
Correct.
One of the things that was on my wish list, well, not my wish list, on my vision board
Hmm.
at the earlier is to treat myself more and to treat myself with things that I want and I can afford. Again, that I can
Yes.
afford.
Yeah.
Because there were a lot of things that I wanted. I'm like, that's too much money. I shouldn't spend my money on that. I can afford it, yeah, but I just shouldn't
Right.
spend my money on that. You should be able to treat yourself within reason.
Hmm.
Okay?
Agreed.
You want that, Yves Saint Laurent bag? Buy that Yves Saint
Buy
Laurent
that
bag if
Easter
you can
roll.
afford it. But don't
Yes.
buy 10
No. You
because
want
you
them
can't
Jimmy
afford
Choos?
10.
Go on and get you them Jimmy Choos and Louboutin, but don't get a subscription.
Don't be having Jimmy Choos
Showing
and
up.
red bottoms coming every month. That's something
Right.
totally different,
Right.
right?
No. No.
Um, I think this is good. Take and these two go in tandem. Take only as much as you need and avoid debt
Mhm.
whenever possible, right?
Yes.
You don't, if you get approved for $500,000, it don't mean you need to take
Oh
five hundred
Lord,
thousand
please,
dollars,
because that's
right?
you paying more that back.
Right. Debt is something, unfortunately, that you have to get
Mhm.
credit,
Mhm.
but don't get too much debt because then it affects your credit. So don't, and this is with everything. Take only as much as you need. Yeah, food, resources.
Yes. Mhm.
We are such a greedy society.
Oh, such a consumption.
You can look at just our portion sizes of food. When people from other countries come here and
Yes.
they order food, they're like, why do you need this much? You don't.
Nope.
But we
Mm-mm.
take and we take and we take and we take and we take more than what we need.
Mhm.
That's why the rich keep getting richer and the poor keep
Poor
getting
keep
poorer.
getting poor. People, it's just moderation.
Yes, we are a gluttonous society.
Very, very, very much so.
Gluttonous.
Mm. Cause
And that happens with money.
it
That's why
does.
the US is in debt. Your mama
Mm.
in debt. They got damn kids is in debt because she done put credit in the
That
kids'
part.
names.
Why are you in your what do you call it? Your little bassinet, but you got you got
You
light bill.
right. You 10 years old with a credit score of 450 because your mama didn't put bills in your name.
Right. Come on now. Come on now, people. Well,
Let's
let's be smarter.
right.
Let's be smarter, cause
And understand this is something that I oh, this was already on the list. Never mind. Moving on.
okay, moving on next. So when Z talks about treating yourself, and this is so important when it comes to your love life and the pursuit of happiness. This is something that should be paramount. It's integral with self care to understand. When y'all ladies go out dating, right? The first man that you meet, that does not mean he is for you. Understand that. Like just because he's there does not mean he's it. That's what dating is for, to figure out what you want to figure, if that person, that personality meshes with you. Because it can lead to other heartache later. And when you're trying to figure out, if he loves me, it doesn't feel right, then it's not right. And maybe because you picked the first man, you didn't give yourself time to figure that out.
Mm-hmm.
So you just be mindful of that. And that leads into not settling. Just like all of those things go together.
They
Just because,
do.
yeah, all of them are intertwined, you
Think about
know?
how many conversations you've had with your tribe,
Hmm.
whether men, women, whatever. And you're
Right.
sitting around. I don't know how men sit around and talk about relationships, but and I can tell you that there's not a woman that you've met that or talked to that will tell you she wishes she would have X, Y, and Z when it came to a previous partner, right?
Right.
I wish I wouldn't have just jumped into the relationship so soon. I wish
Hmm.
I would have read the red flags. These are things, there are things that I hope to pass on to my daughter, to my bonus nieces, that,
Hmm.
the earlier you learn this, the better. But it all
Yeah.
starts with self-esteem and
Hmm.
instilling that self-confidence in you at an early age.
Yes.
Unfortunately, a lot of women weren't given that safe environment to feel
No.
loved and to feel the self-worth that they need,
Yes.
and so they learn a lot of these lessons that come with life and love and the pursuit of happiness much later than maybe they should have.
Right.
And so these
Agreed.
are good things to teach your children as early as possible so they don't sit around here, man, I wish somebody would have told me that because I would have saved me heartache and pain had I
Preach.
known da da
Preach.
da da da.
Pass the plate.
So just saying,
Yes.
just saying,
Just be mindful.
right?
This one right here, I realize this can cloud some of your vision for the previous things we just talked about. Do not depend on someone else for your pleasure. Selfish lovers will never get you to where you need to go. Y'all hear what I'm saying? And I realize if you meet the man that you just met, I don't know, the first man you met, and he takes you to that place, then you might settle, and then you're gonna be coming back talking to your girlfriends. Damn, I wish I wouldn't have jumped in because the D was just amazing. And then you just been dick surprised, and now you can't focus, and then you end up settling because it is not the way to go. It is not. You need to take a hand on yourself and say, "This is what I'm gonna do for me," and I'll make sure I understand what makes me feel good. Don't put that in anybody else's hand. Just I can't. I used to sell slumber parties and all this stuff, and we used to talk about that stuff all the time. And some of the ladies in the in the parties, they were like, "Well, what if he wants?" I don't care what she wants. What do you want?
It's because, and this is going to get, I won't say risque, but this is
Yeah.
a topic of conversation that a lot of people try to avoid and they don't want to
Hmm.
talk about and they're embarrassed to talk about.
Yes.
It is something that is shunned, I think, a lot with the black community.
Yes.
Masturbation. People are taught that masturbation is wrong, it's
Mm.
bad, you
Why?
shouldn't be doing it. And I think a lot of women who've never participated in
Hmm.
masturbation have no idea what it is that they like
Yes.
or need for their partners to do.
Do.
And so they just accept the bare minimum
Mm.
and then they're not pleased and they don't understand how to have that communication with their partner.
Right.
And all we're saying with this is that it is important to learn as early as possible
Hmm.
what pleases you and what a selfish lover
Yes.
is, because you may think that the person isn't selfish and they
Mm.
actually are.
Are
You sometimes have to take your pleasure into your own hands.
literally,
Literally.
literally. Literally, y'all.
We literally have teenage boy humor, sorry. But you do.
So true.
Because
Facts. Big
if you
facts.
do not, you are going to be, I mean, it is said in the
Yeah.
year of our Lord 2021
Yes.
that there are
Yes.
some women who
That-
have been sexually active for years and have
and
not had an orgasm.
I don't understand. Like,
And
oh my
an
goodness.
orgasm through penetration
Yes.
specifically.
Please and thank you. The G spot, all those things. Ladies, 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 ladies. Whew. I'm telling you.
But we're going to talk about that at
At
another
another
time.
show. Yes, and another show. So, and that also goes with date more and have fun. That's part of the fun part. This you could tie that in to what we just talked about. Have
Hmm.
fun. Be safe, but have fun. And understand what dating is for. Understand that it's just to get to know people. You don't have to marry that first person you went on a date with. Enjoy yourself. You get to know things. Go to different experience. See different things. Enjoy life. Enjoy the person and the people you're with. They're not gonna be. Y'all not getting married tomorrow. Just
Right.
enjoy them. Learn a language, like whatever, sign language, Spanish, French, whatever. I took 5 years of Spanish. Did it submersion Spanish and Pitt. Do I remember anything else about habla español? No. But I can't. I'm gonna learn French though. That's my goal. I'm gonna learn French though,
Oh, Jesus.
and enjoy your own company. That goes with living by yourself, at least once. Enjoy. Take yourself on a date. Enjoy, and that goes back to what we just said earlier too about enjoy your own company. All of this ties together. Enjoy your own company, and don't put your happiness in other people's pockets. They all go together. This is a big one. Go to school for your dream, not someone else's. Now, this may be a challenge. As a West Indian child, what I may have thought I was going to do with my life, going to become a backup dancer to Janet Jackson and go to fame. My parents were like, "How about no? You're going to become a doctor and you're going to med school." I was like, "But I don't want." Yeah, like okay, whatever. And my trajectory was set in that way. And I didn't go to med school, but I ended up in public health, and I'm happy for it, and I love what I do. So, but I knew once I got to that med school thing, I was like, "Oh no, this ain't for me." And if I would have pursued it, it would not have been for me. It would have been for my family. And you
Right.
really have to figure out what that is. That takes some time and reflection. And that time and reflection can be done if you take a gap year after school and you go travel, if it's after high school. College is not for everybody. College can be a racket because you may not know what you want to do, gain a skill. And this is a huge one. When you have your different phases in your life, of your love life, your friendships, a lot of friends, most friends are not forever. There's seasons for people in your life. Some are, have like all of us, me and Reef, we've all known each other since we've been teenagers. Now we're in our 40s. that's not necessarily a common thing. It's kind of an anomaly.
Right.
But in those trials in life, like I have different friends, Reef has different friends. Like we still have our respective and our solid tribe, but we also have other friends that have come and gone, and that's okay. And you have to be
R.I.P.
okay with that, right?
R.I.P.
Let me pour some out for the homies that didn't make it.
Oh, goodness. Oh, okay. So, also a part of this whole things that we wish we would have learned earlier, or we hope that
Mm-hmm.
you learned earlier, or things you can impart on your children earlier with love, life, and happiness is what other people think of you is none of your business.
Hello. Good morning.
And I've learned that lesson late in life. I was I was concerned with, well, what if that person doesn't like me, or what if I don't give a flying two shakes of a lamb tail what anybody thinks of me. I don't care. I really don't. I don't. I don't. You don't like me? That's your business, not mine.
Now, this is not to say about your professional life now, because your reputation in your professional life can sink or
Yeah.
swim you. So
Yes.
we're not talking about that. Just be mindful because you can mess up yourself. Like what's his face? Because now people, he's trash and people don't like him because of what he
Well,
said.
yes.
You see
Right.
what I'm saying? So his
Yes.
reputation now is tarnished, and it does matter what people think of him because now he ain't gonna get no bookings.
Right.
So in that sense, but in your personal life, yeah,
I don't care what
right.
you say.
I'm sorry you feel that way. Sound like a personal problem.
Right.
Hmm.
Sometimes it is good to burn that bridge. We've learned
Hello.
turn the other cheek, and sometimes you need to burn that bitch down, and
Hello.
it is okay.
Where gasoline draws.
It is okay. Burn that bridge, okay? It is definitely something to learn early. Carefully choose who you take advice from. You can solicit
Mm.
advice, but make your own decision, okay?
Yes, that is so important because you don't know what the motivation is from who you're asking advice from.
Hello, good morning. And then if somebody's giving you advice because they're a hater,
Mm.
then the next thing is something you need to learn early.
Yes.
Sometimes you got to cunt punch a bitch,
Hey,
and
bam,
that's
bang,
okay.
bam, bam.
And what I mean by that is not physically cunt punching a bitch, but sometimes
Mm.
you have to put a bitch in her place.
Hello.
Turning the other cheek ain't always the good
At all.
avenue.
Because
You
you got
got to
to
let
stand
people
up.
know early and often I am not the one or the two. So please don't try it and
Mm.
don't test me.
Thank you. And I'm
Okay?
not here to play these games.
Because sometimes what you'll do is you'll let people walk over you and think that they can just do
Mm.
whatever they want because you've let them slide.
Right.
Don't Habitual line steppers need to be checked.
There's
Okay?
grace, but there's point where you got to check that grace somewhere else
Right.
and come punch a bitch.
Exactly. It's good to know that your presence is a present. If someone doesn't value your presence in their
Mm.
life, stop granting them the privilege.
Ooh, this is what he's. Ooh, that's a
Yes.
lifelong lesson.
It is okay to ask for help. I definitely wish I would have learned this
Mm.
earlier. It would have saved me, it would have saved me some time on the couch
Girl.
with the therapist.
Mm. Mm.
If I'd have just asked for help, help me, Jesus, help me, baby
Help me.
Jesus, help me. Um, that I am beautiful regardless of how I feel. That is very
Mhm.
important to learn early. That I am
Mhm.
strong even when I'm weak. I think weakness is definitely something that people don't want you to ever know about them
Yes.
or see about them, but sometimes revealing your weakness is actually your strength.
Yes.
Remember, there is nothing in the past worth holding on to. Keep moving forward and never give up.
Mhm.
Something I think all of us wish we would have learned earlier, because a lot of us get stunted because we are looking at the past
Yeah.
and using the past as a way
Mm.
to keep us from moving. We're chained to the past and it prevents us from moving forward. And a lot of that is centered around shame,
You gonna do something
which we're
about
going to
that?
talk about.
Yes.
But shame is one of those things that will keep people tethered to the past to the point where they cannot move forward.
Mm.
And a lot of people need to know this early. You can let go of your past. You can revisit it
Mhm.
to
Mhm.
learn lessons,
Don't stay
but don't
there.
carry it with you.
Mhm.
Don't carry it with you. Um,
Mhm.
this is so important. Life is always now, not tomorrow or next week. And
Yes.
that's live in the moment. And I think that this is important to learn because a lot of us get so swept up into what happened yesterday and what happened, what's going to happen in the future. And sometimes we need to just take a breath and realize that life is now. And unfortunately, a lot of this, people learn this after death.
Mm,
A lot of us learn this after someone's passing, that you wish you were just living in the moment instead of focusing on what happened. Think about it. You have an estranged parent. And I'm not saying that this should just make you want to go out and repair relationships with family members.
right.
I'm just saying there are people who want to repair relationships and for whatever reason aren't. That person dies and now you can't. And now
Right.
you've learned in that moment, life is today.
Be present.
I may not have the chance tomorrow and I have to let go of what happened yesterday.
Facts.
All right.
Facts.
Know your why and when.
Woo.
Why are you in this job? Why are you
This is-
staying in this
Ooh.
job? Why did you want this job? Why did you want it? You have to know these things early. You know
Yeah.
why? You don't want to be 40
Mm,
in a career that you hate because you never defined your why.
right. And that's why you should spend some time by yourself because you have that time to reflect and kind of strategize. Is this what I like? If
Mhm.
this isn't what I like, and then, excuse me, going and speaking to somebody else about what you think and soliciting advice, those dreams that you may project and that you want to attain, that particular person that may not be supportive may just squash those things. And now you sitting there back in your apartment by yourself wondering, should I do this? Should I settle? Because you solicited advice from the wrong person. You really
Exactly.
need time to self reflect and figure out what you want. And it can change. It's okay. It can change, but you have to start.
Learn
with
it
you.
early.
Yes.
Learn it early because
Mhm.
that why piece will save you so much time, so
Heartache.
much
Yes.
heartache, so much money,
Yeah. All of that.
so much time.
Mm.
This also goes with, life is always now, not tomorrow, next week. Time goes too fast.
Oof.
However, things get better with time.
Mhm.
I look up and I'm 44 and I'm like, damn, I was just
Crazy.
24.
Right?
That time went fast. But as I think about it, my life has gotten better as the time has progressed.
It has.
So don't be afraid of time moving. Enjoy it and
For
look
what
at
it is.
all the good stuff that's happening. Ooh, Lord, this is something that a lot of women, a lot of men probably too, can say hallelujah, praise Jesus to. I wish I would have learned this a little earlier. Yeah, right.
Ooh, Nelly.
You may have wished you learned earlier that the strength in any relationship is based on a person's willingness to walk away.
Let that sit for a minute.
The strength in any relationship is based on a person's willingness to walk away.
And that's hard. It's challenging. Emotions cloud your vision.
If
And
you
it's a
learn that,
process.
it is. If you learn that early, though, if that's something that you've learned in your 20s, you're
Mhm.
going to save yourself a lot of heartache in your 30s and 40s.
Amen.
If you didn't learn until your 30s, you're going to save yourself some heartache in your 40s.
Right.
If you haven't learned it in your 40s, like Fat Joe says, God bless.
God bless.
God bless.
Yes.
Because I don't know what to tell you at this point.
Pick up one of them books.
I don't know.
Or some. Go back and listen to our podcast and try to figure out some stuff, okay? And take some time and reflect. We have some podcasts on these topics,
Yes.
that touch on some of these things. So go back and
Yes.
listen. See what we say about that. Because,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
What you been doing?
Right. And last thing that I wish I would have learned a lot earlier, and this is something that I'm still learning, and I really do wish I would have learned this maybe in my early 30s. In my 20s, I didn't care about
No.
gratitude and
It's like
forgiveness.
self.
But in my 30s, practice gratitude and forgiveness. It is hard, but I'm telling
Ooh.
you, what I've learned is that when you're grateful for the things that you have and you're able to forgive those who have trespassed against you,
Yes.
you are able to move through life a lot easier. Because holding on to that being Like there's some things that you just shouldn't forgive.
Unforgivable. Right.
Right. But the things that maybe you are able to forgive, forgive. I'm going to give a quick thing and then we'll wrap it up. If you know me, you know that my relationship with my father was strained. It was strained in my teens, it was strained in my 20s, and strained in my 30s. It was strained. I had a lot of anxiety when I would have to meet my father and meet up with my father. And even after my mom died, our relationship just wasn't where it could have been.
Mm-hmm.
And, going through therapy and working in therapy and working through my issues with the issues and problems I had with my dad, one of the things that the therapist said to me is like, okay, you are in a good place with your dad now. And I'm in a great place with my dad.
Wonderful.
I love my dad. I like spending time with my dad. I like, seeing him in the grandfather role.
Mm-hmm.
It's wonderful. And my friends will tell you when I say, yeah, my dad's coming over, everybody's shocked. Like, what the hell? This is like, we're in the upside down. And one of the things the therapist says, like, you can hold on to that stuff or you can let it go.
Yeah.
And you can talk to your dad about that stuff. But the other side of that story, you're not going to be able to hear because your mother's not here.
Right.
So what do you want to do? Do you want to go forward with what this is and just forgive? You don't even have to tell him you're forgiving him because the forgiveness is for you. It helps you.
Yeah.
And just move forward with the relationship you have, or do you want to drudge up all that old stuff and potentially go back to how you were feeling before? I said,
That's a good point.
I think it's good for me to practice forgiveness in this situation.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever happened, happened. And guess what? It may not even be my business. But we're in a good place now. And I have to understand that sometimes the forgiveness is what is needed to move forward and heal.
Yes. So important.
I wish I would have learned that earlier because I could have saved time, right?
Mm-hmm.
I could have had this kind of relationship with my dad in my 30s, but I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wish that I learned that a little earlier. So if you're out there right now listening, I'm getting a little emotional. If you're out there listening right now and you're in a situation right now where you feel like you want to move forward in that relationship, but there's something that's holding you back, look to see if forgiveness is needed.
Mm-hmm.
And if it is, just do it and let it go and move forward. Because I'm telling you, time will keep on going.
Regardless.
Now,
you got to take that and embrace it for what it is.
You have to.
If nothing else, during this pandemic, families either have become closer or farther apart for whatever reason. But forgiveness has had to come into play for a lot of families to exist in the state that we are currently in. And that's for you to be able to function in a household if you are in with a whole bunch of people that you may not like during the day because you got stuff to do. But you have to really sit and reflect on what are these opportunities to possibly build deeper relationships with the people that you've selected to be with. Not settle, but to be with to an extent. And how can you make sure that you embrace, be in the moment? And you can only sometimes do that if you've forgiven that person and then forgiven yourself.
Yep.
So that you can be present and enjoy the moment for what it is.
Yep.
And appreciate where we are in the life that you have, considering where we are.
Yep.
In this day and age.
So we hope that you've taken this list, and if these are things you've already learned, great. If these aren't things that you've learned yet,
Mm-hmm.
maybe you're sitting back saying to yourself, bitch, I wish I would have learned this a little earlier.
Right.
Thank you. Or if you have a young adult in your life right now that needs some
guidance,
some guidance, maybe push them towards this episode.
Mm-hmm.
But we just hope you've enjoyed it. And I hope that you've learned something from it because, there are some things that I'm like, oh, wow, this is something I wish I would have learned earlier that I'm learning now.
Definitely.
But on that note, we're going to take a quick break and come back with our last tip of the day. And we're back. This is the last sip of tea with your hood Dalai Lama, and I am your hood Dalai Lama. Life can only be understood backwards, but it must be lived forward. And that's from Soren Kierkegaard. So, look, the truth is the learning never stops. It's a lifelong endeavor. You stand to grow from both your successes and your setbacks. Pain and pleasure are there to teach you different things and in different ways. You may have found yourself thinking of your own lessons as you listen to this episode. If you have, please share them in our IG and Facebook comment section. We would love to hear what you all have learned too. And that is the last sip of tea with your hood Daliana.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Again, all, thank you for joining us this week on Sippin' Tea with Nat and Z. As you know, you can follow us on IG at sippintea_NatandZ_pod and on Facebook at Sippin' Tea Nat and Z to get information on upcoming podcast topics, guests, and news. Thank you again for listening, and we will be back in September with all new topics, guests, and episodes. Enjoy the rest of your summer, y'all. Be safe.